It seems that more and more people are drawn to lineage healing, or sometimes we even see it being labeled ancestral healing. It's a very good thing, and thank you if you are involved in that. If you are involved in healing your forthcomer, people of your family, of your lineage that were before you, thank you for doing this work. Thank you for taking it seriously. Thank you for the time, the effort, the energy you are investing in it, or you want to invest in it. Thank you. However, let's not forget protection, protection, right? Before going deeper into that, hi everyone, welcome to Nest of Harmony. My name is Christelle Aria. On this channel, I share knowledge and content related to indigenous knowledge systems and more specifically those of Africa and its diaspora in order to see, to benefit from them and to see how they can support us in our life journey in a way that we can be in a more harmonious, balanced way with living beings, not only human beings, living beings in general. So let's talk about lineage healing and why I prefer using the term lineage healing instead of ancestral healing. Um, if you are new, I'm just dropping a video link here down in the description section about the difference between ancestors and ascendants. Um, let's say we see a lot this word ancestor, right? Um, from how can I say a traditionalist perspective, uh, we acknowledge the difference between ancestors and ascendants. And I do prefer using this differentiation. So it is something that I use for myself and even I use on this channel. The differentiation between ancestors and ascendants. And I would like to invite you to embrace this differentiation as well. Why I'm going deeper into this topic. Ascendants are people of your lineage that passed away, and they are your ascendants, right? Then you have deceased people, people who passed away, who are not necessarily from your lineage, people that you don't have, let's say, blood DNA connection with, at least no direct DNA blood connection because we are all interconnected one way or the other. Then your ancestors on a traditionalist perspective, and this it's not only African perspective, African traditionalist perspective. These are perspectives that you find in other indigenous traditions, other indigenous knowledge systems from Asia, from what is called Latin America or Abya Yala, even Europe as well, right? So your ancestors are people who passed away and who uh, who are healed, who have healed from their human experiences, who have learned all the lessons that were to be learned from their human experiences, from being a human being, or the lessons that um, we learn through our life journey, right? The challenges that we go through, the pain, the joy, the fight, the arguments, the even the teachings, right? By just being a human, we learn. We learn on a daily basis, even without noticing it, even not consciously, we're still learning. So they have learned from that, they have healed, they have processed their human experience. And these people, we call them ancestors. And there are rituals, there are ceremonies for one person to be acknowledged or to become an ancestor. So it is not just because somebody died, somebody passed away, that this person is directly named ancestors. So when uh, in indigenous traditions, and I'm gonna stay here for African traditions, when traditionalists um, talked about ancestors, they are not addressing your ascendants. They are like addressing your ancestors. I hope that now the difference is clear. And your ancestors are can be from your lineage, from your DNA, your blood lineage, right? And not only. This is also something important to keep in mind. You can have ancestors through your profession or your activities, for instance. I'm thinking here of activists. Huh? You can be very much inspired, even you can learn a lot from previous activists through their journey, through their writings, through their teaching, through the ways they have dealt with adversity, for instance, right? Um, and so they can be your ancestors as well, even if they have other DNAs, they're from another part of the world, right? Um, and also, we do have ancestors that are not um, um, human beings, other than humans. We consider that, for instance, Mother Earth is our ancestor, sorry. Um, and Mother Earth is other than human. Um, and other than humans, or other more than humans, if you prefer, can also be acknowledged as ancestors as well. This is something important. So you see that your ancestors are not only people from your DNA, your blood lineage. I'm touching my skin to show you that. And it is why I believe it is important to have this difference in mind when you talk about ancestors. Who are you talking about? Your ancestors, or do you mean your ascendants? This is something very important. Also, because when you're going to speak and you're going to say, oh, my ancestors are protecting me, but if it's not clear for you who you call ancestor and who you don't call ancestors, whose protection are you asking at that moment? This is very important. This is also another reason why I prefer using and making this differentiation between ancestors and ascendants. In my case, and on this channel, and even in general, when I speak of ancestors, I do mean ancestors. I don't mean ascendants. I make the difference. And it's not because people of your lineage are ascendants, it doesn't mean that you don't love them. You can love them very much and still acknowledge that they are ascendants. And actually, it is helpful to acknowledge that, because then you have the consciousness, you have the ability to support their healing process, their integration process, so then they can also become ancestors. And for sure, when you have a beloved ascendant that integrate let's say, that become ancestors, for sure they're going to be definitely supportive, right? You can think of yourself like, what wouldn't you do for your descendants that you and people that you love that much? That's the same, right? But before that, things must be processed and integrated, I want to say, or healed if you prefer. Um, and this differentiation between ascendants and ancestors is important, as I was mentioning, when it comes to protection, when it comes to who are you asking for protection? Is it clear for you when you mention ancestors, or do you actually mean ascendants, or maybe you just don't make the difference? This is important because when you call on your ascendants, yet they are still very much, they can be very much active in your life. But since they are still carrying unprocessed events or unprocessed or unresolved emotions or unresolved parts of their human experiences, they will bring that to you space as well. And maybe these dynamics, even very often, these dynamics are already active in our space, in our spiritual, energetical, emotional, sometimes even physical, psychological spaces. And so bringing them can reinforce these patterns, these very much things that maybe you want to heal from, maybe you want to process. So it's also something to be aware of. This is why it's important to, like, at least for you, differentiate between your ancestors and your ascendants, and to be clear of who you call on when you ask for protection, when you ask for guidance, when you ask for support, right? Once again, it doesn't mean that you don't love your ascendants. It doesn't mean that they didn't love you. It doesn't mean that they don't love you. It's not about love here. It's not about respect. It's not even about them being bad or good person. It's absolutely not about this binary thinking. We are not in binary thinking. It's not about that. It's not about, oh, they are ascendants, so they are bad people. It's not that. We, as human, us as spirit having this human experience, we know that it can be challenging. We know that we can face things that we don't know how to process, we don't know how to integrate. We may need time and space to heal, to space to resolve things. And it can take years, decades, and sometimes our life journey is not enough to process that. Sometimes our time here in the body that we occupied is not enough. And we need more time, we need more space, or we need support as well. Sometimes during our human experience, we don't receive the support that is required for us to heal, to process those intense emotions or intense events. And we need that. And once we are on the other realm, we still need that support to be able to process it, to resolve it, to integrate, to fully integrate it, to fully integrate what was happening for us during our human experience. So it's not about being a bad or a good person. It's not that. And even people who have had a very challenging life experience, who have had a life experience with, let's say, they have generated a lot of chaos around them or in other people's lives, it is still possible for them to resolve it through prayers, rituals, ceremony, support. It is still possible for them to process it, to heal from that. Yes, it can be intense, but it's still possible. So it's not a matter of being a good or bad person. It's not about that. It's not about us or you judging your ascendants. And I think this is also something very important when we do this lineage healing, not to come from judging posture, judging position, and so on. And it's important to also come with a compassionate heart, like compassion, understanding, and remember that we are not in the shoes of this other person. We don't know how we would have reacted if we were there, um, in the same situation, in the same surroundings, in the same environment. We don't know. So it's also important to keep that in mind. I remember one of my teacher in medical history told us he was teaching us medical history, right? And he was teaching us that there is something very important when we look at history. Her story, if you will, not to look at what people did with our knowledge of today and our own awareness and experience of today, the experience and the awareness that we have, because we were not there, we were not in these conditions, and uh, we don't know how we would have reacted, right? This is also something to keep in mind. Um, this was a kind of, let's say, dive into ancestral or ancestral connection and lineage healing. Um, I'm thinking of actually doing like a live round talk about that. If you're interested, let me know in the comments. I would be happy to know if people are interested in this. Well, it's an area that I research a lot on my own lineage, on my own ancestors, and even in general. So I would be happy to share more about that. I hope for today it's quite clear this differentiation, right? Um, if we do like this live call, I would be happy to share more about the rituals. Like in different parts of Africa, there are different types of rituals addressing these topics, and it's interesting to look at them as well, um, for the knowledge and the teaching that these rituals provide us. For now, this is all for me. I wish you well. Let's take care of ourselves and of each other. See you soon.